Dare I say we've turned a corner? Dare I say it? Chelsea traveled to Leicester and emerged 3-1 winners. Let's get it.
And blue is the colour.
Greetings! Welcome back to Couch Critic with me, Dennis P, for what is your Chelsea match review, but more specifically, a tactical synopsis of Chelsea's performance against Leicester. But before I get into all that, ladies and gentlemen, friends, foes, do me that favor. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification button to keep up with the latest and the newest. It will help me with the algorithm. As you know, we are trying to grow this channel, and every like goes a long way in ensuring that we can do that. It would help me and help my sponsors who go by the name of Major League Socks. And fellas, if you ever want to walk in the footsteps of greatness, you know what to do. Hit them up. The link will be in the description. Okay, so here we are. Finally, Chelsea starting to show a bit of form. Impressive showing in the midweek against Dortmund, followed up by another good win, a strong win against Leicester in the league, 3-1. Now, I want to preface this by saying that I am excited about what Chelsea are doing, but there are going to be some things that I'm going to be focusing on in this match review that may show that there are some things that we still need to work on. I'm going to be looking at the midfield partnership of Enzo and, of course, our captain on the day, Kovacic. We're going to be looking at Mudryk in the number 9, and we're going to be looking at Graham Potter's overall game management and whatnot and how that's improved the last few games. Okay. So if you watch my videos, you know that what I've said in the past is that 3-4-3 or 3 at the back system is the shape that Chelsea are most comfortable in. It's the shape that allows our leaders to lead. They understand it very well. Our patterns of play are much better. We understand where the soft spots are in the presses and whatnot, and we're able to break them effectively. And I think that that's where most of what's happened with Chelsea, the rise, the return to form has come from, changing the shape and finding ourselves in a position where guys are comfortable in the roles and understand what's being asked of them in those roles as well. Now, with that said, this 3-4-3 yesterday did produce problems because, as you saw with Leicester, they changed their shape as well and went through a 3 at the back and went with a 3-5-2. And it led to a lot of problems for us in the midfield because they had the numerical advantage and were utilizing it quite well, as you can see in some of these clips here. You know, obviously Chelsea had the midfield duel of Kovacic and Enzo in there, and you know, they were just getting, tactically pulled out of position a lot, and, we were very easy to play through the middle. Now, while I do believe that playing a 3 at the back does liberate those midfielders from having to be defensively sound, they can, be a little bit more aggressive going forward. They can be a little bit more aggressive going in for tackles and whatnot, but what you cannot do is pull yourself out of shape as much as we have, because it just exposes the back line. And time again in this particular match, we saw again that Kovacic and Enzo, while they are brilliant in possession and have shown that they have a good understanding on the pitch between each other, just tactically when we're trying to, be defensively sound and when we're trying to get control of the match, I think that there's a little bit too much of destabilization in the midfield. When the two of them are on the pitch together. Granted, we were very good enough in the first half in terms of getting out in transition, getting on the counter, and creating opportunities for ourselves from that. But, when we're trying to be sound, compact, and, we're trying to, get control of the match, it's very, very hard to do that when you have a midfield that haven't really quite worked out how to function tactically and are showing a little bit of lack of discipline in the shape. But with that said, obviously, Graham Potter made the switch at halftime. I know a lot of people thought that Felix came off mainly because he was injured. He was getting kicked a lot in that game, and I don't want to speak on the refereeing because if I do, it will just go on for hours how poor the standard of refereeing is in the Premier League. But I digress. The reason why Felix came off at half is because the midfield was getting overrun. It was a tactical switch. We brought in Conor Gallagher, went to a 3-5-2. And, we started to find our feet in the game again. We weren't easily being played through as we were in the first half. There were some situations where we still lacked a little bit of discipline and we're, jumping out, trying to challenge for balls that we could never win. And as a result, Leicester were able to get in behind, unpunished, of course, for the most part. But the fact that this is happening is still a worry for me. It's not about whether or not you get punished. It's the fact that it's happening. Because if this continues, there is going to be a situation where Chelsea will be punished severely. So I'm hoping that, Graham Potter can coax some of these or coach some of these tendencies out of these players, where they're diving in, coming out of shape and whatnot, and, leaving us wide open in the middle of the pitch. But with that said, I think Conor Gallagher did a good job of just providing energy and, and matching the intensity in the midfield and getting us back on the front foot, in that match. It's very rare that I've been able to watch Conor Gallagher play and see his role within the squad. I think the last couple matches, him coming in as a sub, to shore up the midfield has proven to be very effective. He's shown that he has quality. He's shown that he has the energy to really, really make a difference on the pitch. But the main component of this whole thing is that Graham Potter is finally starting to manage matches. He's finally starting to assess what is happening on the pitch and finding the tactical switches to counteract that. Not just bringing in the midfield into play, going to a 3-5-2, but then again, when Leicester switched to a back four, he again countered that and went to a back four, bringing on Chalobah to play right back. And these are the types of things that I want from my manager. I want my manager to be able to recognize, assess what's happening in the game, make the tactical switches, and then, see the fruits of it after that. Show that we've worked on some things on the training pitch that allow us to be in the ascendancy in the match. And there's lots of evidence of that in this game. Not only that, but also our set piece routines now are looking a lot better. We should have almost had 2 goals this game. I thought Fofana's movement in the box when we're attacking headers is incredible. He's always finding himself in space. I thought obviously Kai Havertz had an opportunity where he could have scored a second goal from a header from a corner set piece routine. And the deliveries look so much better with Chilwell on the ball. He always puts it in the area where the attackers can attack the ball. And overall, it just looked really, really good. So we're starting to see the fruits of the labor in the training sessions on the pitch now in games. And, credit to Graham Potter. I'm still not quite sure if he's the guy that's going to be the guy that's going to take us forward. But in terms of, showing us that he has some quality as a manager and he is able to, adapt his game, adapt his style of football and allow the team to, find their best form. I have to give him credit for that. I mean, when we were playing with the 4 at the back, a lot of what we saw was Chelsea trying to be, on the front foot, but with no tactical identity in terms of how we wanted to break teams down. Now that we're playing more with the 3 at the back system and on the counter for that matter, I think it's utilizing the best skill sets of this team. The pace on the counters, the ability to transition effectively well. When you look at Enzo, Kovacic, and Felix, all of them very, very good in transitions, getting the ball forward into the final third. And of course, runners off the ball, Raheem Sterling, Kai Havertz, Mudryk, whoever comes into the game. Pulisic, I know he didn't get a lot of action last little while, but these are the guys that I think that can be really effective on counter-attacking situations if we can get the ball to them in effective areas. But these tactical switches, whether or not people enjoy counter-attacking football or not, this is an important tactical switch that Graham Potter has implemented, and it's led to Chelsea finding the ascendancy in their game again. So I give him credit for that. He was forced to humble himself and realize that what he was doing in the back four was not working. It took him a long time to come to that conclusion, but the fact that he has is a credit to him. And, now we can just use this as a building block going forward. 3 at the back is Chelsea's shape. Now, another one of the tactical switches that I want to highlight in this video is the fact that the last couple matches we've seen Kai Havertz play as a number 10 down from the false 9 position. And I mean, the trust that Graham Potter has put into this guy has finally started to pay dividends. His work rate off the ball, he was doing the work in this particular match against Leicester. He was doing the work of 2 men with Mudryk. He was all over the place, telling him where to be and whatnot. But not only that, we're also getting very, very important goals from Kai Havertz, and this is what you want from him. This is why you paid £71 million for him. You're starting to see that form again. You're starting to see that when he's in space, he's utilizing space very well. He's finding guys in space, and his pressing is still something that is very, very, very important. Now, when we're pressing the football, the number 9 has to be the first point of contact for the press. He's the one that's, sets everything in motion. And too many times in this game, Mykhailo Mudryk's awareness as to when we were trying to press, when to go and whatnot was just all over the place. And if you can see here, obviously Kai Havertz is putting pressure on the center back. He's looking at Mykhailo Mudryk, and obviously he's helping him the entire game. This didn't just happen once. He's pointing to him, telling him exactly where he needs to be in order to apply the pressure. And in this instance here, he hasn't really figured it out. He's pressing the center back here. And as a result, Enzo Fernandez is now pulled out of shape. He has to go press the ball. And of course, the next action now is Chelsea are being broken down, and, you know, a goal scoring opportunity arises from this. You know, these are the things that you have to be aware of. And it doesn't just happen 1 and 2 times a game. You know, like it's 3s and 4s where you see Mykhailo Mudryk not making the right read where he needs to press, not being aggressive enough, not being, you know, passionate enough, not showing enough energy, the work rate off the ball. These are the things that I'm worried about with this guy. And I know he's a young footballer. These things come in time. You know, this level of application comes in time. But this is probably more the reason why we're not seeing him, you know, more in the Premier League. But it's important to highlight that it wasn't all bad with Mykhailo Mudryk. I think that as the game wore on, he started to grow into the game a little bit more and started to drop a little bit deeper. Like here, this move here would have been just exceptional had we had done it. Like obviously Mykhailo Mudryk drops into space here, gets on the ball, pulls the central defender out of position. He's tracking Mykhailo Mudryk, releases the ball out wide, well-weighted pass, and of course there's the finish by João Felix, and unfortunately just marginally offside. You know, but the move in and of itself is exactly what, you know, this system is supposed to produce. Now, despite what I had to say about our midfield duo having problems, you know, just being tactically aware defensively, I still think that we have a duo there that understand what we want to do when we're in possession of the football. In particular, Enzo, who had a fabulous game. His passing range, the weight of pass for Kai Havertz's goal is just exceptional. So few footballers can make that pass. He picks his head up, sees that Kai Havertz is in space, just lumps it over the top, and of course, Kai Havertz does the rest with a lovely finish. But everything that this guy does on the ball is just exceptional. His passing range outside of the boot, his switches, long range passes, his ability to just dink the ball over the top and find guys in space and whatnot, like everything. He has an array of passes that are just elite. You're gonna be hard pressed to find somebody in world football that can deliver the ball accurately at range, you know, have the depth enough touch to just dink it over the top, short range passes. And of course, just like outside of the boot, the technique is just exquisite. Like this guy has the lot. You know, there are things that, of course, he's a young footballer, so there are some things that he needs to learn to grow his game a little bit more. But what we have in Enzo Fernandez right now, and the reason why, you know, the club decided to play overs for this guy is because there's a skill set there that is, you know, of a quality that is unrivaled in world football. But with that said, like everything that we're seeing from him right now, he's starting to understand he's a leader on the pitch as well. Like you can tell that it means something to him to win. He has an energy about him. He has a real passion for football, and all of that is coming to the fore. But I do think I'm gonna wrap it up there. Chelsea traveled to Leicester King Power Stadium and emerged 3-1 winners. Wasn't as straightforward as I'd like it to be. There are some things that we need to work on, obviously. Kepa's command of his area is still very, very suspect. I mean, you know, going for balls that he had no business going for. You know, his clearance is not great, his punches, and leading to all sorts of problems at the back. Like on another day, that could have easily been a 3-3 game. You know, with Leicester's opportunities in the box where, you know, Gallagher clears one off the line. You know, another one where I think it was Dewsbury Hall just scuffed it and, you know, was right in front of the goal, should have scored. But yeah, on another day, you know, we could have probably scored 4 or 5, you know, with that said, you know, marginally offside for a few goals. I would have loved to see the Mykhailo Mudryk goal count, especially after the Drogba celebration. He looked like a mug, I'm not gonna lie. He looked like a mug on that, but you know, we moved. I was very, very happy with, again, Enzo Fernandez's application, his ability on the ball, his passing range. Wow. You know, what can be said about that? What can be said about, you know, obviously Koulibaly, again, a man mountain in the back, proving why he was considered one of the best world center backs in world football not too long ago. He's returning to that form, which is great to see. And of course, now Graham Potter is tactically understanding what this team is about, and he's implementing a system that works to the best players on this team. He's implemented a system that plays to their strengths, and long may that continue. Obviously, we got Everton coming up, and I expect 3 points from that. If we get the 3 points, we are in the safety zone. We hit 40 points, which means that we're safe, and you'll see me crack a bottle of champagne if we do reach that, because it is a milestone to consider what the season has been so far. But until then, you know what to do. Keep the blue flag flying high. Love the Chels. Peace.